Yo, what is up, guys? You're watching Epic Pokemon TCG, and today's video, guys, what I have for you, we're going to be taking a look at an Ultra Necrozma list. Now, I'm actually still kind of in the process of learning this deck myself, but at the same time, I feel like this is a really solid list for someone wanting to pick the deck up and learn it, and it's actually been a lot of fun to play so far. I'm actually doing this video right after I recorded my Lost March Frostlass, or whatever I'm going to call that video. But yeah, I just got done recording that one, so I thought I would go ahead and do this one like I promised. Yeah, we're gonna hop right into it here, guys. Taking a look at the main attacker Ultra Necrozma GX. Now you might notice I have the promo one. I got what I could get here on Pokemon TCG Online, so that's why I have this art. But anyway, we're gonna take a look at it here, guys. Of course, has the attack Photon Geyser. It does 20, and you discard all basic psychic energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 80 more damage for each card you discarded this way. So yeah, basically it's just gonna be in here kind of to psychic recharge a bunch of energy on it, and then you can promote it and do a decent amount of damage. You also have some stuff in here that's gonna be increasing just damage over time with their effects and such. And it also has Sky Scorching Light GX. The only way you can use this attack is if both players' remaining prize cards is 6 or less, and then you put 6 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, this could actually be a pretty handy attack mid to late game, depending on how the game's kind of playing out. But yeah, Ultra Necrozma's GX attack is pretty solid. Its first attack can dish out a ton of damage. And honestly, like, I don't know, like calling it the main attacker to me just feels kind of weird just with how many different things is in here. But I guess it is, of course, the main attacker. But the next card we're going to take a look at is going to be Malamar. The card that's going to kind of make this deck work, I guess you could say. It has the ability Psychic Recharge. Once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a basic or a Psychic Energy card. Excuse me, I don't know why I had the word basic in there. I think I'm thinking like Pumpkin Spice Latte is basic. But you just get to attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. And if you do need to, it does have Psychic Sphere for 60. If you're using this attack, you're probably in a bind. But remember, guys, it is there. But yeah, this is just going to allow you to get your attacker set back up and keep your deck kind of functioning and rolling. And one of the other attackers, probably the best Malamar attacker that's a one prize attacker. Honestly, I would go out on a limb and say this is probably the best attacker just because of how flexible and just how it just kind of keeps coming back. But yeah, Giratina has the ability Distortion Door. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it on your bench, and if you do, put one damage counter on two of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this is just a way to kind of start softening up Pokemon. And then of course has Shadow Impact. You put 4 damage counters on one of your Pokemon. A little bit of a drawback, but like this still is a really good card. It does 130, which is actually a really solid damage output. And with the Distortion Door ability, you put a damage on a Reshizard, and you hit it 2 times. That's a knockout, which is really good. But Giratina, you can really learn to start like functioning the numbers and like where your spell tag placements and such should go. Giratina just overall is a really solid attacker. It's that attacker that you can just keep getting set up and it doesn't go away, which is really nice. And the next card we're going to take a look at is going to be Mimikyu. So Mimikyu is probably like my personal little buddy in every single Malamar. I will always play this card. It has the attack Filch, almost that ability. You get to draw 2 cards. It's in there. Filch can help you if you're just getting spit on and you need some backup. But it also has the attack Copycat. If your opponent's Pokemon uses an attack that isn't a GX attack during their last turn, use it as this attack. Now, with how many just outrageous GX Pokemon there are and their crazy attacks and the stuff that they do, Copycat could be a clutch little attack you can use, and you can really just use it in like specific matchups and such. I've actually used Copycat quite a lot, and I feel like it got even better with the tag team Pokemon just because of the the attacks you can copy. But Mimikyu to me is my little homie. I love this card, and I definitely had to include it in this deck. But we also have another card that is really good, and that is going to be Esper. So you take a look at this card, you're like, okay, what does this do? It's obvious, it doesn't really look much of a threat, does it? As the attack Counter Day, I don't ever recommend trying to set this up. If you're trying to use an attack to draw cards, I would probably use Filch. You draw a card if you do this Pokemon is now asleep. And also has the attack Ear Kinesis. This is the big one. This essentially turns Esper into Mark Wahlberg from Shooter. It's just a sniper card. I think that's the right movie, Shooter, I think. Anyway, this attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each damage counter on that Pokemon. Now we have Spell Tag, we have Giratina's Distortion Door, and then of course we have attacks in here that don't necessarily one-shots. Like if you attack something with Giratina, you can bring up Esper and use Ear Kinesis and just kind of like start picking off stuff. It's actually a really solid card. Like late game when you got some damage on the field and you need to pick off something, Esper is a fantastic card. And you never know, it could just this little 60 HP Pokemon can pull off 2 to 3 prizes. It's pretty dope. But the next card we're going to take a look at, of course, is going to be Jirachi, one of the mainstays of the Malamar deck. Has the ability Stellar Wish. Just you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a trainer card you find there, and put it in your hand. And then, of course, Jirachi goes back to sleep, or goes to sleep. Back to sleep? Was it asleep for a while and then woke up? I don't remember. But Jirachi, you just put it to sleep, and then we, of course, have a skateboard in here. It has 1 retreat cost, so really it doesn't even matter if it's asleep. But yeah. And then we can slap with this deck. Actually, we can actually use slap. But it's just going to be in here for Stellar Wish. Just kind of helps you get the stuff that you need for this deck. Like Stellar Wish in this deck, I feel like is just like incredible, honestly. Like I don't know what it is about this deck specifically. It just seems like it's better in this deck than any others. And then we also have the Dene. So the Dene is going to be in here, of course, for the Dede change. Dede change? I do. It's okay. Dyslexia and that ability just don't go well. But you play this Pokemon down from your hand on your bench during your turn, you may discard your hand and draw 6 cards. So yes, you can use this and just get yourself a fresh hand of 6, which is really good. And you can potentially pitch Psychic Energy for Malamar, which is really good. That's a pretty dope little card here as well. And we also have Mew. Mew is in here for bench barrier. You really need to protect your Malamars. Those are what's going to make your deck work. And so bench barrier is going to help you out there. Also, it has Psi Power. Now, you can actually use this attack, if you're not able to pull off knockouts with your Ultra Necrozma, or you've been hitting stuff with spell tags and distortion doors and guillotine, just whatever you might be doing in the game. Psi Power could actually be a pretty helpful ability. 3 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon anyway you like might not sound like much, but when you really get this deck start functioning and you see what it can do, those 3 damage counters can be a lifesaver. All right, I think that's everything except for Inky. Inky. I say Inky because it's fun, but yeah, Inky's in here too. Now we're gonna get to the supporters. We have 4 Cynthia, and then we have 4 Lily. Just pretty generic, standard supporters there. We also have 4 Acrobike. You look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one of your cards in your hand. You discard the other one. If you're able to hit a Psychic Energy off of Acrobike and discard it, it's really nice. And then for the searching cards, we have Mysterious Treasure. Discard a card from your hand if you do search your deck for a Psychic or a Dragon type. So that means you get everything in this deck except for Dedenne and Jirachi, and you just put it in your hand for the price of 1 card, which is really nice. And then we also have Pokemon Communication. This is the one that can literally search everything in the deck. You just put a Pokemon from your hand back into your deck, and you just search another Pokemon. Really helpful. And then we also have Reset Stamp in case, we do need to kind of disrupt our opponent's hand a little bit. And then we have a skateboard. I talked about a skateboard. It just reduces the cost of a Pokemon's retreat by 1, and it can even retreat if it's asleep or paralyzed, which is really nice. So that's going to pretty much make your Jirachi able to retreat even if you don't wake up. Pretty handy card there. We also have Spell Tag. When the Psychic Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put 4 damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So that means you just kind of get to spread out the damage. And the more you play this deck, the more you start seeing in what specific matchups what you need to target with your Spell Tag, where you need to put your damage counters and such. So it's a pretty helpful card. And then we also have 2 Switch. Switch is very clutch in this deck. You can switch. Once you use your Photon Geyser, if it doesn't get knocked out, you switch it. Jirachi, load it back up with Psychic Recharge. Retreat Jirachi, Photon Geyser again. Pretty nice card. Or you can just retreat your Malamar out of the active spot, or if you just don't want to burn energies or something like that. It just Switch is a very, very flexible card in here. Now we're going to get to a very important card in this deck, which is going to be Viridian Forest. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard a card from their hand. If they do, that player searches their deck for a basic energy card, reveals it, and puts it in their hand. What does that mean? Why is that important? That means you can immediately grab your metal energy, so that way you can attack with Ultra Necrozma GX. So that's why that's in here. And speaking of energy, we also have Beast Energy. You can throw this, of course, onto your Ultra Necrozma because it is, guess what? It is an Ultra Beast. Yeah, woo. I sounded so excited there, didn't I? Anyways, yes, you can use Beast Energy on Ultra Necrozma GX just to increase the damage output by 30. You never know when this might come in clutch. Everything now has like a gajillion HP, so Beast Energy is going to be a very helpful card. And then we have 7 Psychic Energy, of course, for Malamar and other shenanigans that I talked about in this deck. And honestly, that is pretty much it. Like, honestly, guys, it is your standard run-of-the-mill Malamar deck. You just have Ultra Necrozma in here as your main attacker and your main go-to, set up, hit 'em Pokemon. Yeah. So I wanted to go ahead and just get this video out of the way and get it done because I talked about what's going on in my last video, and I might be streaming on Twitch right now. I don't know if I am. I can't remember. It depends on what day this comes out. But yeah. So Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. I love you. And I'll have some more videos for you guys soon. If you want more of like an explanation on what's going on, tune into the last video. The Lost March Frost last video is at the end card of this video. Someone told me that my videos are hard to find when I mention them, even though they're literally at the fucking end cards. But anyway, take care, guys. I love you. This is Epic Pokemon TCG signing out.